I had my own small, let's say, family. That's when I met my wife. And somehow we had our own little group.
Met my beloved person, my current spouse.
She was a bit distant from military service. She didn't understand. Moreover, in my opinion, girls who have no place in the army, but somehow it happened.
A couple of months after we started dating, I found out that he had been drafted. Our guys mainly went because there wasn't enough civilian work. They went to fight.
Through volunteers, I learned that my wife is partially trying to find me and help me get released.
I accidentally came across a video on the Podari Nadezhdu channel where Nadezhda had a similar situation. Well, I really thought that maybe I could do it too, since everything worked out for Nadezhda.
Subtitles by Dima Torzak.
Well, I didn't understand. I didn't believe that in my country. Yes, a war started there. Somehow, well, it seems like, yes, Donetsk and Luhansk regions, Donetsk and Luhansk are also part of my country. It's one country, yes. And somehow one country, well, is at war with itself, but I didn't understand.
There are some murders, burning of lids. Everything is on fire, everything is ablaze, everything in smoke. I just don't understand.
Our grandfathers, our grandmothers always fought. They participated in the Great Patriotic War, which should not be forgotten. It's very important. My mother always emphasized this greatly. When they started doing all these pro-Ukrainian actions, removing the May 9th holiday, why? She was really against it.
And so they participated in this Maidan. They were telling about what was actually happening there. Yes, they sort of, under the cover of all this, they were taking out ATMs, pulling them with hooks, trucks, and they were also robbing pawn shops. Well, such things happened.
They were recruiting for a contract. I was passing by, went over, asked. They said, yes, there are openings, back and forth. Assigned to the signalers, kind of like that. They said, so that's it, meaning you'll leave tomorrow. I said, Mom, well, I can't live off you. Yes, I see that it's very hard for you because my brothers were minors. They really needed money.
Lived with my mom. She was ill. She didn't work, nothing. So in 2019, my mom, well, she had cancer. And it, let's say, progressed significantly, well, and with a fatal outcome. And then I decided to join the army. I went there, well, with a shallow understanding of the overall picture, what's actually happening. My task was just to earn money, that's all.
Most of the people, about 90% of those who studied with me, roughly speaking, took advantage of it. We completed a 3-month course very quickly. And at the end of the course, the instructor told us that we would be the ones to protect and reclaim the lands that the Russians took.
And in training, I already signed the contract. So they sent me from Severodonetsk further to Poltava. In Poltava, I underwent training at the institute. When I joined the brigade, the attitude was a little different. At first, no one knew where from. Well, from Luhansk region to Luhansk region. Then already, with months, well, I mentioned to someone that I came from Luhansk region, from Luhansk People's Republic. Then he tells me, why did you come here separatist? So, yes, his attitude towards me was different. Not like toward a citizen of Ukraine.
Well, I was in management circles, yes. Many people were written off as KIA, and some received money for them. People, how to say, clung to the trough. The platoon where I served had 30 convicts. At that time, and they, well, for serious charges like robbery, murder, and so on.
On February 23rd, he returned from his duty, and on the 24th, he was supposed to start a new duty, but I told him, no, don't. I somehow felt it. On February 24th...
My wife and I woke up at around 4 in the morning from flashes and an explosion in Dnipro. Well, that's it. We decided that it's time to leave. We immediately packed up and went to Melitopol. Why? Because I didn't want to fight against anyone or for anyone.
By the time we arrived, Russian troops had already entered, and as soon as we got to our parents' home, they were overjoyed that Russian troops had finally come. and we would be under the Russian flag.
We were sitting there, and the commanders called me. I told them they can forget about me and not call. They said they'd file desertion charges. I said, fine.
When we were in Melitopol, when we needed money, needed a job, unfortunately there wasn't much work because there were military actions. What kind of work could there be? So we decided to head to Crimea.
Upon arriving at the border with Crimea, Chonhar, I decided to immediately confess who I was because I didn't feel any guilt. Through volunteers, I found out that my wife is partially trying to find me and help me get free. Why? Because my hands are not stained with blood, and I'm essentially not guilty of anything.
Naturally, this moment doesn't happen as quickly as we'd like, and I, as a wife, would like to speed up this process faster. It was very difficult. We turned to a large number of organizations, that is, these were military prosecutors' offices, the investigative committee, of course, and met there a person who accidentally came across a video on the Gift of Hope channel, where Nadezhda was in a similar situation, where her husband was also taken captive, and she was able to get him back. Literally a month later, Nadezhda called me and said that very soon I would be able to, my husband would be free.
When I was released, my wife told me that she received help from the organization Gift of Hopes by Nadezhda Simonova. She had also experienced a situation like my wife's with her own husband. She helped her husband and was inspired by my situation and helped my wife.
During all of this, when it all started, he disappeared. On the 9th of March, he left in the morning, called me, said they had set off. He said he would contact me around noon via the internet, that he would find an internet connection and let me know that everything was fine, everything was okay. Then I started getting calls saying they did not arrive there.
In a huge group of three, which included Senior Lieutenant Lutsenko, Private Kalashnikov, MIC, and myself, we were tasked with ensuring communication between these two units. Here we went to fulfill this task and were captured.
On the 13th, I received a video showing that my husband is in captivity. I was very relieved because before that I was told that they're already, well, those were just rumors. I was told that of the 3 guys with whom my husband went on the mission, one of them was already dead. Well, it turned out they are alive and well. In the video, I saw them being fed with salo.
Same situation for the men. He went to the army on a contract for money and all that. And he says, God willing, I get exchanged or somehow end up free. And let's say he has influential people in criminal circles. He says, I will just raise all mine. He says, we'll just go to the Maidan. He says, I just have the desire to overthrow Zelensky.
They could not help me in Ukraine. Neither my command, nor Vereshchuk, nor the Red Cross. I resigned and decided to go to the territory, DNR, LNR, it doesn't matter, to Russian territory, to somehow help my spouse, where they helped me so I could see my spouse and could call him.
And a person in a military uniform came in, not in the uniform of a pretrial detention center employee. He says, so do you want to go home? At first, I didn't really believe it, but when I saw my wife, I realized that everything was okay.
They helped me bring my husband back home, precisely home, to the territory of the Luhansk People's Republic, to the territory of Russia. We are here living, everything is fine, we are alive and well, the baby is with us, we're enrolling in kindergarten. Here we don't feel any threat.
When moving to the city where I am currently located and studying, I believe I am treated well here, meaning the level of education is much better. Here everything is good. We study at other clinical bases, meaning a good level of education compared to before. Speaking about how other people treat me, those who know sort of later regarding where I am from, well, that I came from Ukraine, there was no disdainful attitude towards me. On the contrary, everyone said it was good that I left all those military actions.
Upon returning from captivity, I immediately gathered all the documents I had and applied for citizenship. And literally, after within 2 weeks, I already received my passport of the Russian Federation. About 1 or 2 months later, I found a job in my search, and I liked it. It is a job in the IT field. I work there, and the income suits me well. In the future, I want to move closer to the city, maybe even possible buy an apartment, if possible, keep living, develop, buy a car, 2 or 3.
For a long time, people who learned what happened to my husband showed some sympathy and provided material support, any support, both mental, psychological, and financial. People were compassionate. They cared about what was happening and what is going on.
My first, so to speak, place of residence in Russia, yes, was Moscow. It was very hard for me there. Well, to be honest, I pulled my spouse here to Crimea, yes, there. It's easier for me here. Well, yes, let's say my job isn't great, but still I'm earning some money. I talked with the guys there. They know perfectly well who I am. At first, they were a bit wary, but we found it common ground.
In principle, nothing. It's fine. Everything's good. We communicate. There are grown-up guys there
When
too.
I arrived at my work, they were watching a video where I, was recognized. During my work, where I'm from, what happened to me, they were understanding towards me. Maybe to some extent, they felt sorry for me. And in every way, during my first month of work, they helped financially.
I am participating in the project Mama I'm Fine, where to the best of my abilities, let's say, not much depends on me specifically in terms of organizing all these events, so to speak. I communicate with the guys who are in the situation I was in, that is with prisoners of war.
I have already rescued my husband from captivity. Already being a civilian, I started watching and monitoring the internet even more. I know and communicate with the guys, with our prisoners of war. My husband communicates, and I am involved in this. We help our guys who have been captured, and accordingly, those who want to be exchanged go for an exchange. Whoever wants to stay in the territory of the Russian Federation, LNR, DNR, and all these cities that have been annexed to the Russian Federation, those who want to go home, we help them return home.
At that moment, I was truly happy that it really happens, that the Russian authorities can take some actions and understand that you are not guilty of anything. And also, guys who find themselves in the same situation, who are not guilty of anything, don't feel burdened, can also calmly get out.
For them, being taken prisoner is actually the best option because there is no other choice. It is the only way they can stay alive and possibly return to their parents, their wives, that is, to their family.
A large number of people do not want to return to Ukraine. Many of these guys are from Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Only they want to go back home. But some guys, I'm saying again, this is not advertising at all. I'm just sharing the opinions and impressions of these guys I've talked to. Some of them even want to join the armed forces of the Russian Federation.
And to reach the final point, namely to find this channel, to give hope, to watch this video, to cry, to smile at this whole situation, to see how serious it is, it took at least 7 months. It is not as fast as it seems, as one would like.
The purpose of this YouTube channel is to reach out to people because these guys, these men, are awaited at home by mothers, wives, sisters, loved ones, and close ones. And we try in every way to help these guys.
I am addressing the servicemen of the Ukrainian army and their relatives. To save soldiers' lives, write to the bot of the Telegram channel, give hope. We will help. Saving drowning men is the work of the drowning themselves.